Marriage does not begin with a ring, a ceremony, or a signature on paper. It begins in a silent, unseen moment that most people completely overlook. The world teaches you to wait for someone to choose you, to love you, to commit to you. But the truth is far more powerful and far more dangerous if ignored. The moment marriage truly begins is the moment you internally decide that you are already chosen, not by someone else, but by yourself. Because the reality you experience outside is always a reflection of the state you accept within. And if you miss this moment, you will spend years chasing something that was always meant to start inside you first. You don't step into marriage when someone proposes to you. You step into marriage when your mind stops entertaining loneliness as your identity. When you no longer say, "I hope someone loves me," but instead live with the quiet certainty, "I am already loved." That shift is everything. That invisible decision creates a new version of you, one that no longer seeks validation, but naturally attracts it. People can sense it. The energy changes. Your presence becomes different. And suddenly, opportunities, connections, and even the right person begin to align with the identity you've chosen. Most people delay marriage not because they are unlucky, but because they are unconsciously committed to the idea of being single. They repeat the story. It's hard to find someone. Good partners don't exist. Love always fails me. And without realizing it, they are marrying that belief instead. Because whatever you emotionally accept as true becomes your reality. So while they wait for a partner, they are already in a relationship with doubt, fear, and limitation. And that relationship keeps producing the same results over and over again. The exact moment marriage starts is when your imagination becomes loyal to the outcome you desire. When you stop imagining rejection, abandonment, and delay, and instead begin to consistently feel the experience of being chosen, valued, and committed to. Not occasionally, not when you feel hopeful, but daily, intentionally, and with emotional conviction. Because your mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly felt. It simply reflects back what you dwell on most. This is why some people meet the right person effortlessly, while others struggle for years. It's not about luck, it's about identity. One person walks into the world already feeling like a partner, already embodying love, already secure within themselves. The other walks in, hoping to be completed, hoping to be chosen, hoping to be enough, and the world responds accordingly. Because life mirrors who you are being, not what you are begging for. You must understand this deeply. Marriage is not something you get. It is something you become ready for internally. The moment you feel emotionally fulfilled without needing external proof, you have already stepped into the state of marriage. And from that state, everything begins to rearrange itself. Conversations change, opportunities appear. The right person doesn't feel like a miracle anymore, it feels inevitable. Because you are no longer waiting for love. You are expressing it. Many people think the key is to find the right person. But the real key is to become the version of yourself that naturally experiences the right relationship. Because even if the perfect person walked into your life right now, your current beliefs would either accept or reject that experience. If you feel unworthy, you will sabotage it. If you feel incomplete, you will cling to it. But if you feel whole, secure, and chosen, you will sustain it effortlessly. So the question is not, when will I get married? The real question is, when will I decide that I am already living in the reality of love? Because the moment you make that decision, everything begins to shift. You stop chasing. You stop doubting. You stop settling. And instead, you start aligning. You start attracting. You start experiencing the life that matches your internal state. There is a powerful transformation that happens when you truly understand this. You no longer feel desperate for attention or validation. You no longer feel anxious about timelines or comparisons, because you realize that your outer world is simply catching up to your inner decision. And once that decision is made with certainty, nothing can stop it. Not time, not circumstances, not even past failures. Think about it, every relationship you've ever experienced was a reflection of how you saw yourself at that time. If you felt insecure, you attracted inconsistency. If you felt unworthy, you accepted less than you deserved. If you felt doubtful, you experienced confusion. So why would marriage be any different? It will only reflect the identity you hold when you enter it. That's why the inner work is not optional, it is everything. The moment marriage begins is quiet. No one claps, no one celebrates. There is no announcement. It's simply a shift in awareness, a decision that says, I am no longer the person waiting for love. I am the person who embodies it. And from that moment forward, your actions, your energy, your choices, they all begin to align with that truth. You start living differently. You start thinking differently. And most importantly, you start expecting differently. Expectation is powerful because what you expect, you allow. And what you allow, you experience. So if you expect delays, you will find reasons for things not to work. If you expect disappointment, you will notice every flaw. But if you expect commitment, consistency, and love, you will begin to attract and recognize those qualities effortlessly, because your mind is now tuned to a different frequency. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to convince someone to choose you. The right person does not need persuasion. They respond to your state. They feel your certainty. They recognize your value, and they naturally align with it. Because when you truly know who you are, you stop entertaining anything that contradicts it. This is why some people suddenly find love when they stop looking for it. It's not because they gave up, it's because they finally shifted internally. They stopped operating from lack and started living from completeness. And that shift made all the difference. Because love is not attracted to neediness, it is attracted to wholeness. So if you want marriage, don't wait for a proposal. Don't wait for the perfect person. Don't wait for the right time. Make the decision now. Decide that you are already living in a reality where love is secure, natural, and inevitable. Feel it, embody it, live from it. Because the moment you do, you are no longer preparing for marriage, you are already in it, internally. And once that internal marriage is established, the external one has no choice but to follow. It may come through unexpected ways. It may arrive sooner than you think. But it will come not as something you desperately hoped for, but as something that feels completely natural, because it matches who you have already become. So don't miss this moment. Don't wait for the world to confirm your worth. Don't delay your happiness until someone else shows up. The exact moment marriage starts is happening right now inside you. The question is, will you recognize it? Or will you keep waiting for something that already began within you? The beginning of marriage is not marked by an external event, but by an internal decision that shifts your entire identity. The moment you stop seeking love as something outside of you and start experiencing it as something already present within you, everything changes. You no longer feel like someone waiting to be chosen, but someone who is already valued and worthy. This inner certainty creates a powerful emotional foundation that reflects outwardly in your behavior, your energy, and your expectations. You carry yourself differently, you respond differently, and you no longer tolerate anything that contradicts your sense of self-worth. This is where the true journey begins, because love that is already felt within does not need validation, it naturally attracts it. When you embody this state, you stop chasing and start allowing. And in that space, relationships no longer feel like a struggle, but a natural extension of who you are. This is the invisible moment most people overlook, yet it is the most important one, because everything that follows is simply a reflection of this inner realization. There is a powerful shift that occurs when you stop defining yourself as someone who is waiting for love to arrive. That identity keeps you stuck in a loop of searching, hoping, and doubting. But the moment you redefine yourself as someone who is already chosen, your entire reality begins to reorganize. You stop questioning your worth and start embodying it. You stop looking for signs and start becoming the sign. This change is subtle, but deeply transformative. It influences how you speak, how you think, and how you perceive others. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or compete for attention. Instead, you operate from a place of quiet confidence and emotional stability. This identity does not seek approval, it naturally commands respect. And from that place, the kind of relationship you desire begins to feel normal, not distant. Because you are no longer chasing love, you are living as someone who already has it. And that is what makes all the difference. Every relationship you experience is a mirror reflecting your internal beliefs about yourself and love. If you carry doubt, fear, or insecurity within, it will show up in your interactions, your choices, and the people you attract. But when you begin to shift your self-concept, everything around you starts to change. You start seeing yourself as valuable, deserving, and complete, and that perception shapes your reality. You no longer accept inconsistency or confusion because it does not align with how you see yourself. You naturally gravitate toward people who reflect your inner stability and confidence. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. Your inner world is always projecting outward, influencing your experiences in ways you may not even realize. That is why true change does not happen by trying to control others, but by transforming how you see yourself. Because once that changes, everything else follows. And relationships become a reflection of your self-respect rather than your fears. When you reach a state of inner completeness, you no longer look at relationships as something that will fix you or fill a void. Instead, you see them as something that adds to an already fulfilling life. This shift removes pressure, neediness, and emotional dependency. You become more relaxed, more present, and more authentic. And that authenticity is incredibly attractive because people are drawn to those who are at peace with themselves. You no longer cling to outcomes or fear losing someone because your happiness is not dependent on them. This creates a sense of freedom in your interactions, allowing love to flow naturally instead of being forced. And from that place, the right person does not feel like a solution, they feel like a natural match. Because you are not looking for someone to complete you, but someone to share your completeness with. And that is where true connection begins to flourish effortlessly. Your imagination plays a far greater role in your reality than you may realize. The thoughts and feelings you consistently entertain shape your expectations, and your expectations shape your experiences. If you repeatedly imagine disappointment, rejection, or failure in love, you will unconsciously create situations that confirm those beliefs. But when you begin to intentionally imagine yourself being loved, respected, and chosen, you start to shift your internal state. And that shift influences your behavior, your energy, and your interactions. You begin to notice opportunities and connections that align with your new perspective. You start responding differently to situations, and that creates different outcomes. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about aligning your inner world with the reality you want to experience. Because what you consistently believe and feel will always find a way to express itself in your life. And when your imagination becomes supportive instead of limiting, everything begins to change. The idea that you need to find the right person often leads to endless searching and frustration. But the truth is, the right person appears when you become the right version of yourself. This means developing emotional strength, self-awareness, and a clear sense of identity. It means letting go of limiting beliefs and stepping into a mindset that supports the kind of relationship you desire. When you focus on becoming rather than searching, your energy shifts. You stop looking outward for validation and start building it within. This makes you more grounded, more confident, and more aligned with what you truly want. And from that place, the right person is not something you have to chase. They naturally align with you because you are now operating on a level that matches the kind of connection you seek. And that is what makes the relationship feel effortless and genuine. When you fully embody love as a state of being, rather than something you are trying to obtain, everything changes. You begin to move through life with a sense of certainty and calmness that others can feel. You are no longer anxious about timelines or outcomes, because you trust that what is meant for you will come naturally. This confidence is not loud or forceful, it is quiet and steady. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you communicate, and how you handle situations. You no longer settle for less, because you know your value. And you no longer chase, because you understand that what is truly aligned with you will not require force. This state of being creates a powerful attraction, drawing in people and experiences that match your energy. And at that point, marriage is no longer something in the future, it is something that has already begun within you, waiting to be reflected outwardly.